Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I wanted to discuss today something a little different, something that can't be implemented in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but something that I hope to see moving forward that Ubisoft will be able to learn from their mistakes, perhaps, and utilize a better system when it comes to creating their stories and how they have their players navigate through their game world organically. So my issue with this game basically was you start here in this area, you get to Erewhon, and then basically you fly up this way, you got to come back down this way, then you come up all the way this way, and then you come back down this way, and then you go this way. And this huge game map is basically traversed via helicopter, and you open up as many bivouacs as possible so you can fast travel everywhere, which in my opinion is terrible game design. It's terrible user experience. And from the beginning, from the onset of this type of development, it should have been nipped in the bud by somebody in the higher ups, understanding that just because you have this huge game map doesn't mean the player has to explore all of it via the story. The story could literally take you to half of this game map and it would be sufficient enough because there's so much to do in these worlds. In this one little province, you could literally bounce around to all these provinces via a story before getting to a second and a third and a fourth one, and that could take up an entire an entire 10, 20-hour game, 30-hour game. What I'd like to see in Ubisoft games moving forward is an organic movement and exploration of the game world, meaning let's say you start I'm up right here right now, but let's say we start in this area in a new game. You should really bounce. The story should take you uh almost like a linear story, how we would play The Last of Us or Uncharted, how it feels open worldish, but it's definitely a linear path. I'd like to see that type of design moving forward in Ghost Recon games, to where you are organically moving into this area, spreading out in this one area, finding everything in this one area before you move on to the next area and the next area. I don't like the way how they make you come to Erewhon before you bounce up here to do the AI missions, before you bounce all the way back down and find or you have to find the Skell Estate down here, and then they make you bounce all the way down here and then back up this way. The player ends up losing what it is to be in this world, in this map, and it really just becomes a chore to navigate. You end up just looking for bivouacs to open so you can fast travel everywhere. You're looking to get the easiest helicopter so you can traverse uh, this huge world, the path of least resistance, the easiest possible way you could do it, which is by chopper or via fast travel. I'd like to see the devs focus on a real story that is almost linear in its design. It can branch out into different paths to where you can choose which way you want to take the story first, but it still should not you should not exit a province or an area until you have fully explored it and it's really been used within the story. You can use, like I said, 2 or 3 of these provinces for an entire story, and it would probably be more than enough. The fact of the matter is, we bounce between all of these locations. Half of them aren't even used. The majority of them are just there just to be there. And you could do so much more for your game with immersing players if you would just keep it simple. Sometimes simplicity is the way to go. If you start here, have the player move out organically in the story, nice and slow, to vast locations within this one area. Then you have them move out of that area into a new area that can have a new type of topography and could be a fresh start for the player. Then he does the same thing there. They move through these little areas, going through the story, moving from one location to the next, trying not to get seen, trying not to get killed, shot. When you design this huge open world and your deaths are irrelevant, everything is just irrelevant. Half the world is irrelevant, to be honest, when you're fast traveling and using a chopper to get past enemies and compounds and encampments. it becomes a waste, in my opinion. A lot of this game world and the map, it becomes wasteful because you are sending your players, the people who have bought this game to play it and get immersed in it and see what you've created. They skip over half of it because you created the foundation for them to skip over half of it, which, like I said, helicopter travels and bivouac travels, safe house travels. So I'd like to see moving forward from Ubisoft developers who create such beautiful open worlds. I'd like to see them tone down this type of fast travel, mechanic type, providing players with choppers the easy way. For instance, in this game, you leave Erewhon, there's a chopper there waiting for you. It's just there, and when you design a game to where you come to Erewhon, and the first mission from Erewhon, this I remember, you have to come all the way up to this lighthouse to meet Fox, right? So now, right off the bat, you have an issue with your game design, with your story design. You started a beautiful beginning of the story, which is basically the best part of the game, the first 10-15 minutes when you have to find the choppers. It's actually like you're going through, getting shot down. You got to figure this all out. And then it's bam, go to Erewhon and then start fast traveling everywhere. Take a chopper here. And then from there, you got to meet Hill all the way down here. And then from there, they want you to go all the way back here. It's just silly. It's silly to design stories this way. It's silly to design your game this way. Look at the other games being built. Look how Rockstar does it, right? Rockstar creates these big, huge open maps, but you move out organically into the world. They don't start you here and then send you all the way down here in Rockstar games. No, they start you here and you do everything in this area, and then you do everything in this area, and then you do everything in this area, and then you do everything in this area. It moves out at a nice steady pace to where you explore the map and you feel just immersed. It's saturated. You're just, it's so, everything that you are taking in is in that one area before you move out. Whereas in these games, you barely see an entire province before you're in another one, and then you might see one or two locations that one before they shoot you to another one. So I really just wanted to get you guys' opinion on that. What do you think of that? Do you like the way Ubisoft designs these stories to where you can just bounce around as you please? I'm not saying you can't explore as you please. You should be able to. But the whole fast travel system, the whole giving choppers like nothing, not having to earn things. Usually old game design, it would be like you built things up. So you would start on foot. Like a cliche game design would be for something like this. You start on foot, maybe you'd get a bike, then you'd get a car, then you'd get a chopper. You build up to these things to the point where maybe you're halfway through the game and finally you come upon your first helicopter. And I feel like that's missing in these Ubisoft games. At least this one. This one, it's really missing in. This one, they really just, they create this whole world and then there's just like, here's a helicopter, here's 50 bivouacs to go find. And hiding bivouacs and making you have to find them compared to the safe houses in Wildlands, that, you got to think of something new, something different. You got to you got to figure out a way how to keep people involved in this game. Imagine getting through the entire campaign of this game and you only went through, this section of the map, maybe 4 or 5 provinces. And you stayed on the story. This was more than enough for you to explore. And then the game's over and you're like, oh my God, now I have these provinces where there are faction missions and all these provinces where there are side missions. It could be something like that. But you have to move away from bouncing around the whole map. The game loses its pace. It loses the immersive feeling that players get when they're in the game, when they're just hopping in helicopters or fast traveling from one location to the next. And I feel like Ubisoft developers, the designers, the mission designers, they have to do a better job at figuring out how to make these stories flow better, because what was done in Breakpoint really didn't work in my opinion. And that's it. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I really wanted to talk about today. I really wanted to get that point across on just story development and how Ubisoft needs to do a better job at pushing us through their game world and not throwing us all over it to the point where we're fast traveling and using helicopters. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know your opinions on that. Are you more in the crowd where you prefer going around the whole game map, fast traveling, taking choppers everywhere, or do you like that feeling of building in a game to where you don't have a car, you don't have a chopper, you have to find them, and then when you finally find it, if it gets destroyed, you can't just go to your your bivouac or your safe house and then one pops up. This type of design that has come about in Ghost Recon now, it might need to be completely changed for the next iteration of this game. They might have to abandon all these systems that they've created for the past two iterations, because I don't see how a third game can continue this with all these fast travels and choppers at your disposal, and I think it's a little too much at this point. Let me know what you all think. Let's talk about it in the comments. Let's get some ideas out there. Let me know your opinion on things, and we'll kick it in the comment section and shoot some ideas off of each other. Anyway, that's all for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. Like I said, comment down below. Comment down below. Let me know your opinions, and that is it. So, everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. All right, guys. Peace.